So welcome to our, I guess it'll be our third meeting on our CCNA 1 class for our HBCU second cohort grant. Thank you for being here. I want to do a couple things today. First off, I want to again kind of just bring up the syllabus here. And you notice that due today is really this week is your Packet Tracer 105 and 155, and then Lab 193. We talked a little bit about these packet tracers, and one of the things I want you to be aware of is inside of the curriculum, when you load the curriculum, and so I'm going to launch the course here. I'm going to actually start the course content, and so it's going to load it. Don't forget that if you want to get to the packet tracers easily, you can just click on the course index, unselect all, and click packet tracers, and we'll show you those. But one of these, like I think it's the 155 packet tracer.
Can you show me again how you access the lab?
Which lab?
It's here. You showed me something here.
Okay. Well, all I've done is I went to the class.
Okay, that's when I am also in the class.
Okay, and then you go down to where it says modules 1 through 3 course content.
Yes.
Click there.
Yeah.
And that gives you all the content.
Okay, that's one I can access.
Yep, and this is the reading materials for the class.
Okay.
This is all the reading materials, and I'm talking about right now is packet tracer. So, one of the packet tracers due this week was the 105 was that large packet tracer that had a physical mode, packet tracer physical mode. Some of you did not upload your .pka file, so when I go in here, if I uncheck all and just do packet tracers, I can go directly to this packet tracer. Also, folks, if you just go through the curriculum and look at the curriculum, you will find the packet tracers as you go through because they're embedded in the curriculum. But it's easier just to go right here and go uncheck all under the course index, go to packet tracers. But this is one of the packet tracers that's due. So you see where it's got a download button. When you click download, it opens, it downloads that, and as long as you've got packet tracer installed, packet tracer version 8, very important, you must have version 8 for this course, okay? It will open up. So I'll show you in a minute how this is opening.
I installed the packet tracer, but it does not look like your one.
Then you install the wrong version then.
I installed from this side, whatever you have here, logical and.
You click this?
No, I think there is one video.
Okay, well, it's loading. I'll show it to you in a second.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's that mine's loading on the other screen over here because it takes a while for it to load because it's a big packet tracer. This is what it should look like once it gets loaded. I'll bring it over in just a second. This is one of the super big packet tracers. In fact, this is one of the biggest ones they've ever made. There's the only one bigger is in this is what it should look like. Uzma, is that what you got when you open it up?
No.
Then I don't know what you're opening. You may be opening, you may be doing this right here. You may be using on this inside the class itself, these videos. So here's the video. It shows you where the download install packet tracer. You're opening this one right here. You're opening up this.
Yes, maybe that one.
That's the same one. That's the same one.
So.
Because most of the devices in the Seward branch office and Warrington data center are already deployed and configured. So if you click right here, that should open up this packet tracer.
You might just not be looking at the real-time selection. You need to look at whether or not you're in logical, physical, or you're real-time for what pitch is showing up.
Right. Are you seeing now? If you click on the here, you'll get this. See how it goes to the actual office, and then you can actually go into the branch office and then all the way into the data center. So you actually can get all the way into here.
I cannot see that lab, but all of them upper ribbon and lower ribbon, it is the same like you. Can I share my screen if you don't mind?
Yeah, let me hold on, let me pause the recording back on. So in this 155 in the curriculum, this is just so everyone who's watching this later knows, if you click on the 155 packet tracer, it does actually open and say that it is 157. That is just a mistake right now in the curriculum. I'll submit it as an error and they'll get it fixed in the next revision. But this is the correct packet tracer. And this is one of those look and see packet tracers. At the very end of this one, it asks you to just add an end device and add some intermediary devices. And all they're wanting you to see is that you can go into a packet tracer and add in new devices. In fact, here's something really cool, folks. I kind of showed you this last week, but if you just open up packet tracer, and in other words, just open it and don't load any pre-made packet tracer, you get a blank canvas. So you could go in here and create, you know, any type of little network you wanted. So there's a server. You can put a couple servers in here. By the way, the servers actually have the ability, if you look on the desktop and the programming, they got programming and config, but they've got on the desktop the ability to actually turn on network collectors. They've got the ability to turn this into an email server. So you can actually create a little email server on this. They have the ability to do turn on web server on it. So all kind of little things you can do with these, but you can pull a switch out. So this is a fully functional simulator. And one of the things that you will use, and this is really, really neat. Okay, so here we'll go in here and grab some straight through cables. Oops, just grab the straight through cable and connect them. So we'll go fast Ethernet to here. We'll go same thing here, fast Ethernet to just a port. So I'm just going to connect 3 PCs, or 1 PC and 2 servers. But one of the cool things about this is you can actually go into what's called simulation mode. And so if you want to try to ping between these devices, you need to put IP addresses on them, but you can actually go to simulation mode. And when you do, you have the ability to watch the packets go through here. So you can actually try to say, okay, let's go from here to here. Now it's not going to work because there are no ports that are assigned with IP addresses. But if I went in here and actually assigned IP addresses on these, so if I go into the desktop, by the way, this is why students need real machines. They thought this is where you put in IP addresses. And I am a national judge for Skills USA, and I have had students who won their state come to the national contest and not know how to put an IP address onto a Windows box. And it just blew my mind. But just, it happens. So I got 2 IP addresses on here. So let's go and actually try to ping from here to here. And you'll actually see as we do this simulation, you can watch it go across. And you can actually go look at the events. So you can actually go look at the PDU. So this actually creates a simulated protocol data unit. So really, really neat program that is available for you to use. In our class, we're going to use it a couple ways. One, we obviously have our packet tracers that I'm asking you to do. Like this week, we've got packet tracer 105 and 155 due. So when you complete 155, you'll notice there's really not a whole lot to do, but once you get through with the, excuse me, I keep clicking the wrong thing. When you get through with doing the lab here, basically it tells you about in packet tracer, the server PT device can act as a server. It goes on through, talks about that. But when you're done with it, you would go in and say, all right, I'm finished. So I'm going to do a file, save as, save it with my name. I just put my initials. And then you upload this file into Netacad. So some of you did not upload the file, but that's okay. Just make sure going forward, like in the other packet tracers, you do upload the full file. But this is where you click and upload your completed assignments for both the lab and for the packet tracers. You will notice that the lab for this particular module, okay, so I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to do uncheck all and do labs. You'll see the lab for this particular module is just a research lab, and it's really a pretty simple lab, just talking about looking at monster.com. I like Indeed better. I told you that. But you go in, download this into Word. You can open up a PDF in Word, fill out what you found, and then upload this into the Lab 193 upload. And so really this week, you did not have or do not have a whole lot to do. You should have read Module 1, watched the Module 1 lecture, and then completed these 3 assignments. Okay, everyone does know their lectures are down here.
I completed Module 1, but I did not complete the lab. So now I believe my package tracer is ready. Can you show me how do I get to the lab?
Okay, packet tracers and labs are totally separate. All right.
Okay, how do I go to the 105?
105, this packet tracer right here. Okay, first off, it's a packet tracer, not a lab.
Okay.
Okay, so to get to the packet tracer 105, you're inside of the curriculum. Okay, so you're in the curriculum. So you've opened it up. Click on your course index.
Course index.
Uncheck all. It's got all checked. Uncheck all.
Course index, uncheck all.
Check packet tracers.
So
right there's the packet tracer.
105. Yeah, I saw it. Thank you.
Click there, and then it'll take you to the page. You scroll to that to the bottom. Right here it is, where the download link is. If you click right here, it will download that 105, and then you open it in Packet Tracer and complete it.
Okay. So.
And then when you're done, you do a file save as, your name in front of the Packet Tracer name, and then upload it into our Netacad link right here.
Okay, I believe I can able to do it, and if I cannot do it, I'll send you email.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I actually
finished my reading part.
So I completed it recently and uploaded, but it just said you successfully completed. Is that what you want us to upload? The last part that says successfully completed, or did you want the?
Well, let me show you. It's opening, Demetrius. It's opening over here on my other screen again. Let me pull it back over, and I'll show you again. There are 2 different types of packet tracers. This one, you'll see here. It really has. If you do a check results on it, it has nothing because there's nothing for you to do in that packet tracer. It's really just a look and see packet tracer. So if I go on this one and do a check results, it just says you've completed successfully or it's locked. It won't even show you anything. So this one you do and you upload. It's what I call a look and see packet tracer. So it's teaching you something, but there's no configuration for you to do. This one, the other one here, this one, you'll notice it has a completion percentage.
Yep.
Okay. When you complete this lab, so in other words, when you go in here and actually do the lab, let's go all the way into the actual branch. So one of the things it's wanting you to do is to click and connect the fast Ethernet to one of the ports here.
So mine went all the way to 100%. So
okay. Well, all right. Then what you need to do is once it's at 100%, you just save it and upload it.
Okay.
Now here's something. If you're doing one and you don't get 100% and you don't know why, unless it's a troubleshooting packet tracer, you can click check results, and under assessment items, it will tell you what you've missed.
Oh. Okay.
Now, if it's a troubleshooting packet tracer, they don't tell you what you missed because that's the whole purpose in having a troubleshooting packet tracer. They want you to figure out what's wrong. They don't want you to be able to just go, oh, I see what's wrong because I looked at the assessment items. So any packet tracer in the name says troubleshooting, you probably will not be able to click the assessment items. But you'll notice that's the difference in this packet tracer versus this packet tracer. This packet tracer, there's really, if you go to check results, nothing happens because there's no configuration for you to do here. Whereas some of them have you doing actually configurations. Let me show you another example. This one takes forever to load, so let me show you another one. So our next module is actually something I love, is the fact that this curriculum goes immediately to, I'm going to teach you how to configure a switch. All right. So our next packet tracer that we have, one of them is a configuration packet tracer, where we're going to learn how to configure initial switch settings, packet tracer 255. If I click right here, it will take me to where that is in the curriculum. If I click on the download here, it will download that packet tracer to my machine. And on my machine, I just have it automatically opening up the packet tracer. I don't have it downloading it and having me open it up. So I click OK. And you will see that for this packet tracer, it tells me that it wants me to do certain things. So first click on S1 and then the CLI tab. So let's go to S1 CLI. All right, so I'm in the CLI here. Then it's going to tell me, what do you want me to do next? It says, okay, type enable, and it's going to eventually say down here, it says configure terminal, and then set the host name to S1. Well, look right here, my completion percentage is 0%. But if I go down here, I go into my global config, or go into actually privilege exec mode, and then I go into global config. I set my host name to S1. Look what happens on my percentage. I get to the right page. My percentage goes up. So as I'm configuring, the percentage goes up. Now this is where it's really nice to have two monitors, because I'll pull this over here on another monitor and have them, have them both on two different monitors. But every time you do something that's asked for, so for instance, it asks you to do, as you're going down, it says, do an enable password. So I go in here and type enable, and it tells me it has to be exactly what it asked for. And it says it wants a password of C1 $CO. Oop. And in fact, I did it wrong, so I had to do it. I did a CO instead of C0, but, and actually let me do no, Control A, no. Okay. C1 $C0. Okay. And then it also, you do an enable secret. Well, you'll learn all about these when you read module 2, which is part of this week's assignment, and also watch the video lecture. But what happens, you'll notice, as you're doing the lab and you're checking results, it will tell you what you've missed and what you've got correct. So it's telling me what I've set up correctly and what I have not set up correctly. So each one of these is going in. I've got the host name set right, but I've done something wrong with the password. So, so as I configure these devices inside of Packet Tracer, it's giving me a running total of my score. Okay. And that's why I say it's important that you realize that there's different types of packet tracers. There are these configuration packet tracers where we've actually got to go in and do configuration. Yep. You notice I'm shortening commands, by the way. And you notice here, once I get this, so you'll notice now I've got 13% because I've got the two host names set correctly. So that, and when I'm done, when I got done with this packet tracer, I'm fully done. I've got 100% on it. I would just do file, save as, put my name in front of it, and then I would upload it into Netacad in the appropriate slot for that packet tracer. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, Demetrius,
Yes.
that makes sense?
Yes.
Steve, Robert, Uzma?
No, I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
it makes sense. But when I do by myself, I will understand better.
Okay.
I'm
right.
looking
Now-
what you are doing.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, if I want to do by myself right now, I'm missing some information.
Right, right. Now, I want to go ahead and then throw the next wrinkle in, which everybody's like, oh no, not more stuff. But I also have a system called NetLabs. This system connects to real gear, all right? So anywhere in the syllabus where you see a lab that says it's in bold, that lab is in the netlabs.stanley.edu system. Now, so for instance, this week, you're supposed to do lab 292, which is a lab that's to be done on my NetLab system. To do that, you would log into NetLabs, which I sent out your information last week. Your username is your Stanley, your full Stanley email. and your initial password was Cisco123, all lowercase. All right. So you should be able to right now, all of you log into netlabs.stanley.edu.
I know I can.
Everybody can get in? Okay.
I couldn't, Kelly. I'm
Okay.
gonna try again. Yeah, I'm gonna try again.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up another window over here with a different, and log in with administrator privileges in another window so I can look at your account and make sure we got everything correct, because I do occasionally mess up when I import accounts. I tell my students all the time, there's two things in IT that scare me the most. And I tell them, run away from any person that tells you they know everything. Run as fast as you can from that person, because nobody can know everything in IT. And the other thing is run away from anybody who ever says they never make mistakes.
Amen.
Because in the world of IT, you're going to make mistakes. It's just, hopefully you minimize those mistakes and they're not insanely bad. Okay.
So you mentioned to log into the stanley.edu, right?
No. Netlabs.stanley.edu. Not Canvas, but Netlabs.
Netlabs.
Netlabs.stanley.edu. Kia, your username is your last name is Zong, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kzong1338 at scc.stanley.edu.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried that and I input the Cisco 123 password and it keeps saying username or password enter is incorrect.
Okay, I'll reset your password to make sure Cisco 123.
What is it case sensitive for the username?
Yes, all lowercase.
Okay.
All
Okay.
lowercase.
Okay, that's where I'm doing wrong.
Yep,
Then.
everything needs to be lowercase, folks.
Okay.
I was capitalized the X, so
Okay.
that's probably what I
Okay.
wrong.
Right now, the only two that have logged in are actually there's three, but Robert has logged in. Osebe?
Yes, I'm logged in, but I have a quick question. Should I change the email address once logged in or just ignore it?
No, it doesn't matter on that. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's fine.
What is my username?
Your username is Amir1165 at scc.stanley.edu.
Okay, same username as the Stanley, right?
Correct. It should be the same login name as Canvas.
Kelly,
all
I do
lowercase.
know.
All lowercase. But
Kelly,
now the password is not the same, though. Your initial password is Cisco123.
Kelly, I do know that I ran into trouble using Chrome to get in. Chrome didn't like it for some reason, but I had no problem with Firefox.
It's funny because I typically only use Chrome because Chrome tends to work the best with it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but for whatever reason, it just didn't like me.
Yeah, you're definitely logged in. I've seen you, like I said, there's three of you have logged in. Once you get in, the good news is it's going to ask you to change your password. So change it to whatever you want. It can match your Stanley password. This system does not have SSO with Stanley's database. So in other words, single sign-on. Normally at Stanley, anywhere you go, your username and password would be whatever you had for canvas.stanley.edu. This system we manage, and so it's a standalone system that doesn't mesh with the SSO, and there's reasons for that. But that's why you have to use a Cisco123 as your initial password, and then reset your password to whatever you want it to be. All right. Now, once you get logged in, you're going to be sitting at this screen right here.
Can you tell me again my password?
Cisco123, all lowercase.
But all lowercase, okay.
All lowercase. Everything, username and password is all lowercase. Okay. Now I'm watching here to see who's getting logged in.
I'm in, Kelly.
Okay, yep, I see that you're logged in. Yep.
Okay.
Demetrius, you're logged in.
Username or password is wrong.
Okay, so did you want us, I heard Utsabelli say, do you want, it asked to change email addresses. Am I supposed to do that?
You do not have to do that. You can just leave it blank. You can leave
Okay.
your email address blank.
Is there a disadvantage? I mean, is there a benefit to doing it, or you would prefer us to keep the Stanley?
Well, all that's going to do is put another email address in. It's not going to change your username.
Okay, got you.
Uzma, just put into chat your username.
Okay,
Yeah, all that does is just put an email address with your account, Demetrius. It has no effect on your actual username to get in.
got you.
And then your password is Cisco123.
Got you.
So uamir1165@scc.stanley.edu.
Yeah.
But yeah, Demetrius, you are logged in. Kia, you're logged in. Steve, Robert, Otsebe, you're in.
They are asking to change the password. Should I change the password?
Yeah, you have to. It's required. You don't want it to stay Cisco123, then anybody could use your account. Okay. So let's see who else is in here. Let's see. Robert, you're already in, so I know you're in. Robert.
So should I need to change the email address?
No, leave it blank. Leave it blank.
Okay. Then what should I click then?
Just click next. Or okay. I don't remember.
There is a no next or okay button.
There has to be somewhere.
Okay, they said leave it blank and submit.
Yeah, submit. Yeah. Okay, and you should be logged in
now.
now.
They're asking date display format. First day of week, Sunday. Okay.
Okay, so yep, you got logged in. All right, I think everybody on the call now is actually logged in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I got 6 logged in. There's 8 of us here, so somebody's missing. Who has not gotten in yet? Robert, Stephen. No, Robert. Okay, I think everybody's here. Everybody should be sitting on this page right here. Okay, so you have successfully logged into NetLab. So to do your lab, this lab 292, here's what I'm gonna have you go ahead and do. Follow along with me as we make a reservation. So go new lab reservation. You are probably going to have, yours is going to be a little bit different looking than mine. It'll probably just say make lab reservation or create a lab reservation. Demetrius, what does yours say in the drop down there?
We get the top 2 choices.
Okay, you get just these 2?
Yeah, but I got new, yep, I got the CCNA 1 V 7.0 MDP, and then the
Okay.
SA.
So if you click schedule lab for myself, you should see your course. Now I've got 1 billion courses. You should probably only see a single course, which is going to be KFC second ITN cohort SU21. Okay. You may not even see the class because you're only in 1 class. Okay. Once you're in here, you should see these 2 items.
Correct. That's what I saw. Yeah.
Okay. Now, right now, ignore the second one because that's only going to be used when we do our hands-on final at the end of this class. Okay. So you're going to click on the very first one here, and you'll see all the list of the labs that you can do inside of NetLabs. So you'll see obviously this lab, which is due this week, and your 3-7-10 lab, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we'll probably have you do 3-7-10 on your own machine because 3-7-10 is one of the labs giving me trouble. It's not handing out DHCP addresses for some reason, and I'm in the middle of working with NDG support to fix that. But right now, I want you to click on lab 292, and you should see a list of 4 pods. And you're going to tell me, but Kelly, there's 8 of us, and there's no way we can all get a lab reservation. And I'm going to say, for whatever reason, NDG made this little bitty button right here. And if you click on it, you will see that we actually have 16 different pods of equipment.
Good.
So there's actually 32 routers and 32 switches sitting in my data center back there for you to use. So I'm going to use pod 16. And if you'll see, this red line right here is the current time. So if you click the red line, it's going to schedule the lab from right now to however long you do it. If you want to do a lab later tonight, you could just select the time whenever you wanted there. Or if you wanted to do your labs for this weekend, you could go ahead and schedule ahead to make sure you have the lab. The only thing I ask is this: if you schedule a lab in the future and find that you can't use it, try to cancel the lab. And canceling a lab is very easy. I'm gonna show you what I would do. So let's say I'm gonna do a lab for Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I log in and you see I've got a lab that's for this coming Sunday from 2 a.m. to 4:30. I find out I can't do this lab, which I'm not gonna be doing this lab, folks. I like y'all and I like networking, but I'm probably not gonna be doing a lab at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I would want to go in and cancel this reservation. So all you have to do with any future reservation that you find you can't make, just click on it and cancel it. Here's why. If you don't cancel that reservation, during that time slot, that lab is being held for you. It will boot up that equipment and that equipment will run in my data center and it will be sitting there with nobody to use that equipment. All right.
Just a reminder, if I'm not mistaken, Kelly, add 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after to allow it to spool up and to spool down for the next user.
Exactly. And so what we're going to do, in fact, all of us, I'm going to go out and use pod 16. And is Otsebele, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Otsebele, you take pod 15 and do your reservation there. Demetrius take 14, Steve take 13, Kia take 12, Uzma take 11, Robert Stephen take 10, and Dr. Holland take 9. All those pods are available. And what you want to do is you want to click right on the red line. Okay. And then I would go ahead and let's schedule these labs for, let's just go ahead and say till 5:30. Now, what I would normally do for you is never schedule a lab for less than 2 hours. Just go ahead and give yourself 2 hours. There are ways to extend labs, but just set it out to about 5:30, click submit. And what you're going to see once you do that is you'll notice, look at all this. I see all of your labs now. Here's the amazing thing about this tool, folks. I can actually take this entire class into a single set of labs, and all of us can be in a single router working at the same time. So I can say, Demetrius, put the host name on it. All right. Otsebele, you put in the IP addresses. So this is a very powerful system.
How do I cancel it?
Don't worry about canceling it right now because I want you to leave the reservation because we're going to go into it.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll notice if you click on your inner lab, you probably only have one inner lab. So click inner lab. You'll see the topology for the lab, which this lab consists of 2 routers and two switches, and 2 PCs. You'll see the content tab, which is super, super important. This is what you must use. Wow. This is what you must use in order to do the lab. You can't use the documents from inside the curriculum because it's been rewritten to work in this system. So make sure you use what's in this content tab when you do the lab. But watch this. If I go over here, look what's happening. This switch is booting up. It's being automatically configured to work for this lab. And right now you'll notice that keyboard input is disabled because on the back end, this system is going through the process of ensuring this is going to be ready for you. It's deleting any VLANs that would happen to be on it. It's cleaning up the config on it, making sure it's going to be presented to you as a student in a completely clean, ready to go for the lab environment. You'll notice too, switch 2 is doing the same thing, and the PCs are booting up. So all these PCs are real PCs that are virtualized booting up. But like Steve said, it takes about 10 minutes because this is real gear. And that's what I love about this. You get to watch this real gear boot. You get to read how real gear boots. It's not the simulation of packet tracer. It also is quirky like real gear. So there are certain things that this will do that packet tracer won't do, or it won't do exactly the same. So that's why I have you use NetLabs. Right now, again, you'll notice it's still booting. So it takes about 10 minutes before this will be ready.
I didn't give me my card though, because I missed my name.
Okay, who had a question? Somebody was, I don't know, Kia, you may have had a question, or you may have just been talking to someone there.
Sorry, it is my daughter.
Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. So you see this is booting. So it's in the process right now of booting. You can't do anything. You can hit the enter key 500 times and it won't do a thing until the system is done with it. Okay. Now, again, as Steve said, what actually happens is if you schedule your lab for 2 hours, it usually takes about 10 minutes for the lab to get booted up fully. And then if your lab is scheduled for 2 hours, at the 1 hour and 50-minute mark, it's going to tell you the lab's getting ready to end because it takes the last 10 minutes to clean everything up. In other words, it actually go ahead and erases everything, re-snapshots the PCs back to a default state. So this lab, this environment is, number one, it's great for the Cisco classes, but it is amazing for cybersecurity classes because guess what? We can build self-contained little pods to where you can run malware on them. You can destroy a system. And guess what? When the next student comes in, it just restores a snapshot and it's good to go. So that's one of the reasons I love this system. The other reason I love this system is because all of us, you need real gear in your classroom. And I'm going to talk about real gear in your classroom. You need real gear because people need to be able to plug the console ports in and see the blinky lights. But what happens to your real gear when you put it in your classroom at 9 o'clock at night? 9 or 10 o'clock, what happens? Most of the time, the door to the lab is locked. The door to the building is locked. So you've got these thousands of dollars of equipment sitting in a room that for half the day is useless. This equipment right here, okay, so there's it's let go of it. So again, it took about, I'd say about 5 to 8 minutes for it to boot up. This gear is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Students can do labs as many times as they want, and it doesn't matter if the building's closed or not. So now I would actually take this content and I would start doing the lab. So I'd read about it. This lab, you're going to deploy a simple network with 2 hosts and 2 switches. Step 1, configure static IP addresses on the PCs. Now I will tell you this, if you don't know how to do that, it doesn't tell you how to do it. You have to go Google it. But we look and we see, okay, PCA is supposed to have 1.10, PCB is supposed to have 1.11. So we'd go over here, we would click, and I know there's multiple ways of doing this, folks, but one of the easiest ways, just click here, open network and internet settings. And we can go in and put our IP addresses in. But anytime you see a lab in the curriculum, or excuse me, in the syllabus that is in bold, I want you to do that lab in netlabs.stanley.edu. The other labs you will either do, they're written labs, or it's a lab that's not available inside of NetLabs. So you may have to do it on your local equipment, or you may just have to skip that lab. Okay, it's like lab 238 is asking you to do your own gear locally. I wrote this syllabus, by the way. You'll notice this syllabus is written from the standpoint of if you were one of my students. I would expect you to do every single lab and every single packet tracer if you were one of my actual students. Now, I know you're my student, but you're also an instructor. So for instructors, I only ask you to do 80% of the labs in the course and packet tracers. I don't ask you to do every single one of them. I also, folks, I'm not going to sit here and go, "Ooh, you did 79.3%. I'm not that kind of instructor. I'm very much a big picture kind of person. So be aware that I'm not going to nitpick. If you do 75% of them, as long as you're making a good faith effort, I'm going to pass you. Okay. The one thing that I do not have any exception for is, you noticed when I talked to you earlier about the hands-on final, there is a hands-on final, and at the end of this course, you will pass that hands-on final or you don't move forward. I am a firm believer in you've got to have those hands-on skills to pass on to your students. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, again, I'm not going to nitpick about the fact that you only did 75% of the labs. So next week, obviously, you're going to be reading either reading or watching the lecture. I would probably do both. I do the lectures because I know some people are visual learners. Plus, it's good to hear my take on it. And you can go and find lectures on all these modules everywhere. And if you want to use my lectures for your classes, feel free. They're publicly available. I don't care who uses them. You will learn, as I've told you in the class or in the lectures themselves, I use what is called a good enough lecture philosophy. So when you go in here and look at module 1 lecture, which I hope you've already watched, one of the things I've put at the beginning of all of mine is I put in the fact that, hello, my name is Kelly Collin. I'm the lead instructor at If you come in my classroom, in a real classroom, I'm not going to give you a perfect lecture. There's no way. I make mistakes. My phone rings just like it did a second ago. Somebody walks up to the door, knocks on, and says, "Hey, Kelly, there's a problem in the data center," and I have to run down the hall to fix the problem in the data center. So I go with what's called a good enough philosophy. I try to give you a lecture that is informative and useful. And so hopefully you've watched this module 1 lecture. How many of you watched it? Any of you? Got it. Okay. Demetrius did. Okay. So that's, obviously you could read it.
No, I have not watched it, but I read the materials.
Well, if you read it, you got it too. I mean, that's the thing. It's available in 2 different formats. Some people, I know a lot of people like to, with this, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. I got a weird hobby, but I build and paint little miniatures for Warhammer 40K or for miniature war games. So I like to sit and watch lectures while I'm painting. So that's a good thing you can do. You can do that and watch the lecture. So it's an optional way for you to get the material if you're a visual learner. I have 2 degrees in English, so I read a lot. So but I'm learning more and more. One of the things I've had to do myself is I've had to change my teaching style because I have found the more that I interact with the newer generation or the younger generation, they are very visual learners. They're going to learn off of YouTube, which quite honestly, I do too. I mean, the other day I had to fix something on the refrigerator. What's the first thing you do? You go to YouTube and say, how to fix ice maker on, GE, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. You'll be like, dang, somebody else had the exact same problem I've had. And there'll be a video on there. But I do have these videos there. So if you need to use them or want to use them, you can do so. So be aware of that. Again, back in NetLabs, these are real machines. So you're going to have to use the real process of putting IP addresses on machines. If you've never done that, this is basically how you do it here. And it's telling you to put 192.168. I forgot what it was. Was it 10? 1.10 and 1.11. So 1.10, and then hit tab and it will fill in your subnet mask for you. You don't need a default gateway because this particular network has no router on it. So there is no default gateway on this network. And then I could go over here and put 1.11 on this machine. Oops, clicked the wrong thing. And I'll just show you pingage so you can I can prove to you that we actually have a working network.
It's funny. I thought you were really on your PC.
No, I'm on. Yeah, it is wild because you're inside of these 2 virtualized PCs. I tell you one of the things. I'll show you all a little neat thing that we have. If I can get into one, I may not be able to, but we actually have one lab that's a VMware lab that has 5 different boxes. It's got 2 ESXi servers. It's got a vSAN. It's got a vCenter box. It's some of the labs that we have inside of NetLabs are pretty phenomenal. But see here, I do an IP config just like normal. All right, and then I can do a ping 192.168.10, and that's pinging over to PCA. So now I'm pinging from PCB to PCA. And so I've at least completed this first portion right here, which is configure and verify the PCs have connectivity. And then it literally walks you through what to do, folks. It says go to switch. So you go to the switch 1, click on it. It tells you go into the enable, and you'll learn that's privilege exec mode. And then you can literally walk through and do the lab on here. And you're going to learn how to configure in module 2, which is what I love. You're already configuring switches. You're going to learn the base configuration of a Cisco switch in just module 2, which I think helps students. I think it helps them. Some of you have already done the first lab, which was just a lab to go to indeed.com. And I wrote in my grading on those who have already turned it in. That was kind of a useless exercise for you because you understand. But when you think about when your students do that exercise, they're going to see those jobs at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, especially where some of you are at. They're going to see those jobs with a CCNA making that kind of money. And they're going to go, ooh, okay, I need to stay in this and get my CCNA. It was kind of funny. I did it for a small school up near Greensboro, North Carolina. I was in a meeting with them and I said, well, let's just do a quick search. And within 20 or 30 miles of that small area, they actually had like 18 jobs for people with CCNAs. I couldn't believe it. Now, some of you where you're at, by the way, if you're up near Virginia Beach, how's the gas situation? I'm supposed to go up there this weekend.
It's rising. I got gas yesterday when I started hearing the news, but I've heard it's been ticking up.
As long as you can get it, as long as I can get gas, I'll pay for it. But you know, people around here have gone all toilet paper on it. You know, they're trying to fill up everything they own.
Yeah, I got to run up to Georgia for next week as well.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of crazy, but I do think one of the things that you will get out of these labs as you're moving forward is they'll see that those jobs are there. Yeah, it is a crime, Dr. Holland. They'll see that the jobs are there. And then the next thing, you know, a lot of our learners are like hands-on labs. Hey, next module, boom, we're doing hands-on labs. So we've done some packet tracers already. So we've kind of done some simulated hands-on in module 1. Now we're working on real gear in just the second module of their journey to get their CCNA. It used to be years ago, or in the last version of the curriculum, they actually waited a pretty good while before they started doing hands-on. And that was, I told them that was a big mistake, that they needed to get them on the hands-on quickly so they get excited about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So questions about the NetLab system and what you're going to be using that for. Now, let me show you something that's a little sneaky, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this because I love doing this to students, but I actually have the ability to go in here and I can look at a lab. Okay, so here's a lab that I did. Okay, I can actually go in here and see, you told me you did this lab, but you didn't enter any commands at all. Kelly, I think you're lying to me. You didn't do the lab. But I can go back here and find another lab. Let's see, let me submit this, and hopefully I'll pick on Michael. He should have done. Look here. I can look at the session logs, and I can actually see on switch 1, I can see every single command that was typed in. So as I go down here, I can see everything that they typed in, show VLAN brief, see the output of it. So it captures everything the student's putting in on the Cisco devices, and I can go look at it. In fact, in my first class, my Introduction to Networks class, I had an instructor who locked themselves out because they put the wrong password on their enable secret. And I was able to see that in the command and go, ooh, I see what you did. You put the wrong command in. So this is really neat. It's like things like this. I can go in here and say, oh, let's see, you're having a problem here. Why are you having a problem? Well, I can see it's because you didn't do X, Y, or Z. So this system is really neat, and it's one of the ways I use to track to make sure that you're getting the hands-on skills you need. Now, if you're done with the lab, you're inside the lab and you're finished, I've done everything, I'm going to go in, and obviously one of the things you want to do is open up the content here. And if there are any questions, you can answer those and upload them, you know, into our NetAcad site. But when you're completely done with the lab, all you have to do is click reservation, end reservation now, and click yes. So everybody do that to your reservation, unless you want to play in the lab. You don't have to do it if you want to stay around and play in the lab. But if you do, what happens now is that pod starts the process of being reset so any other student could use it. We shared this system with 546.
Could you show me again how do I end the reservation?
Yep, you'll be in the lab and you'll go to reservation, end reservation now.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's also where we can request more time, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So exactly. So if you had, let's say you wanted more time, you could go in under reservation and request more time. It'll bark at you though until it's within the last 15 minutes. So even though you can request more time, sorry, Demetrius, I'm in your lab, but you can request more time, but it will say you can only request it when there's only 15 minutes left. So if you got down to 15 minutes, you can actually request up to 2 30-minute additions. So that is a possibility. So if you do find out, ooh, I didn't give myself enough time, you can ask for an extension. So Demetrius just ended his. So. Okay. So in fact, Uzma would be real close here to being able to do an extension because she's at 16 minutes. Ooh, request more time. And see what just happened? It gave her another 30 minutes. So if you're within the last 15 minutes, you can extend it up to 2 times for 30 minutes each time. Uzma, you want me to end your reservation for you?
Please. Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm not doing today.
That's okay. And also, I'm going to go in here and make a quick change to the class because I accidentally left on, I left on the ability for you to change exercises within a lab reservation, which I don't like to do because it's it can cause confusion. So nope, and it's not enabled, so it may show up, but it won't allow you to do it. You also can do screenshots of the PCs, which is something I didn't show you, which is really neat in classes that don't have Cisco devices, because then you can do like if you're running a security tool, you can run the output and show the output and then do a screenshot, and it saves it inside of the reservation, which is really, really neat. Okay. Okay, folks, that's what I have for today, what I wanted to go over, because module 1 is really just a basic overview of what networking is and how it works. So hopefully you've read module 1 and watched the lecture. This week, you are to be working on modules 2 and 3. So read those modules, and we'll go over any questions that you may have on those modules next Tuesday from 3 to 4.
Kelly, did you cover the stuff you wanted on Packet Tracer? You wanted me to remind you about it?
I did. I showed you. I showed
Okay.
showed Kia the adding those devices in. Yep. Thank you very much. Okay, let me stop my share, folks. Any questions about the class, where we're at? We kind of had a little bit of an advantage with your class because we've already had 3 meetings, so I feel pretty comfortable with where we're at in terms of your understanding, hopefully, of what's going on with the class. I am going to be on faculty break tomorrow through Sunday. Send emails if you get stuck. I will check email. Just realize I won't respond as quick as normal. I'm gonna try to actually take a couple faculty work days. So since this is our faculty break. But if you have questions or have a problem, email it. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me, especially when I'm on break. I will be looking at it.
I have a quick question. This is kind of clarification dealing with the intermediary devices and end user devices. For example, when you look at the IP phone in the example that we have on Packet Tracer, can it be classified as both, because you have the IP phone and then you have the computer terminal connected to it? How do you still qualify it as an end user device, or you qualify it as an intermediate device?
Okay, what I would say to that would be this. Intermediary devices are devices that, the way we think about it is this. Typically, an intermediary device is any device that data travels through. Okay. Now, I'll give you a great example. What you just come up with and what you just said, let's imagine this switch right here, switch 4. Okay. Switch 4 can have an IP address assigned to it. Okay. Because you're going to learn, in fact, in our lab, one of the things I'll go in here and show you, show in VLAN 1. Let's see if I've got it set. Yep. See right here, this device has an IP address set up on its VLAN 1 of 172.16.02. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing, am I? Sorry, y'all. Okay. So now I'm sharing. So I clicked on switch 4 and I did a show interface VLAN 1, and you can see this switch has an IP address on it. All right. I would say that that switch is an intermediary device. That is its main function. However, I will say this too. I can access that switch from my management network and work on it. So it could be a host on my management network. But its primary function is an intermediary device because it provides access for all these other devices to get on the network. So we typically think about, when we say a host device, it's a device an end user is going to be on. But I will say that even intermediary devices have IP addresses on them and can be a host device that you can access. but that's not their primary function. You know, the primary function of this PC right here is for the person to do accounting on. So that is an end device. This switch is an intermediary device that you also happen to be able to connect to as an end device if you need to. And Dr. Holland made a good point. Intermediate equals middle. So yeah, the intermediate devices are those things in the middle of the communication process. End devices, obviously, are those on the ends of the communication process. But having said that, I can go from PC 0 to switch 4, and then at that point, because it's got an IP address on it, switch 4 becomes an end device. But that just means it can function as an end device, but its primary function is an intermediary device. Does that make sense?
In this case, that the IP phone is will be an intermediary.
Right, right. And well, and really with this, because this is a layer 2 switch, it's really just a layer 2 intermediary device.
Okay.
Because it's really, you know, layer 2 switches, I mean, they pass the IP information through them, but they're only dealing with frames. They're only worried about framing in layer 2. That's it. Now this router, the router would be a layer 3 intermediary device. So layer 2 would be the switch intermediary device. The router would be a layer 3 intermediary device, so on and so forth. Okay. Does that help? Does that help?
Yeah, it does help, because I looked at it, I could see that could be classified as both, but I think realizing that classifying by its primary function is the better way to do it.
Agreed. I think you have to look at the primary function, and that's how whenever a question is being asked in the curriculum or on a test, look at its primary function first. Very good. Dr. Holland talks about the term mediate and what a mediator does. So that's a very good point too. You think about the switch and the routers, they mediate the passing of information between devices on the network. And we're going to get into how exactly a switch does lookups on its content addressable memory table. And we'll even look at how a router does route table lookup. So all of that's coming as we move forward in our different modules. Okay. Other questions? Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to stop the recording.